Hey, it's Nelson from Reed Sports, and we're out here at Rice Creek this year. I wish everyone could be here. Unfortunately, we're not able to have everybody come out, but we are here with Joe from Swarovski. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Swarovski DS Generation 2. So, Joe, what makes the DS such a great scope that you can use?
Sure, thanks again for having us. What makes the DS such a great scope is that it takes a lot of the complex situations in today's ever-evolving world of long-range shooting and ballistics and dialing and turrets and holding over. It does a lot of that. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you. It is a simple, smart hunting scope is the idea behind it.
Okay. And so I have shot one of these before. I shot the Gen 1. It was really interesting to see that it is a rangefinder as well. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so incorporated inside of the rifle scope is a built-in rangefinder. So on top here you will have, just like on a regular illuminated rifle scope, you will have your illumination intensity buttons, but in the center is your range finding button. So as soon as you push that range finding button, it will give you your range and your shooting solution.
Okay, so my understanding is that it also has a app with it as well. So
Correct.
To be able to get that range, you actually put in all of your information into the app before.
Correct. So once you have downloaded the app on your smartphone, your Apple phone, Android device, tablet, what have you, you're going to start by putting in all of your ballistic information. So we have a standard library on our app that allows you to choose from your common manufacturer's loads. If there is a manufacturer's load that is not on there, you can also enter something in as a hand load. So even if you're shooting your own custom hand loaded that's non-factory ammunition, you have that ability. From there you can choose, and then one of the new features in the Gen 2 is you can choose either a G1 ballistic curve or a G7 ballistic curve. So it's going to give you a lot better ballistic profile, a lot more accurate solution by choosing one of those two profiles. Okay. From there, you will sight it, you will enter in your information from your sight in, so your atmospherics from the day that you sighted in your rifle, and then once you get that, you send that information to the rifle scope, and the rifle scope stores it. Now, I know a lot of you are probably thinking, what happens if my battery dies? It will store that. So whether you take the battery out or replace the battery, it's going to remember that information from that point. So you don't have to worry about changing your battery in the field. Should it die, it's going to remember that information.
And so there's also like a windage adjustment in there.
Correct.
As well, right?
So it's not a normal ballistic style reticle. You have the option to choose either a 5 and 10 mile an hour increment or a 10 and 20 mile an hour increment. I prefer the 5 and 10. Usually in 20 mile an hour, most of us are either back inside at home and not outside hunting or shooting. So that's my preference, is the 5 and 10.
Okay, and so what other new features does the Gen 2 have that the Gen 1 didn't have?
Sure. So as I mentioned, it has the ability to do G1 or G7 ballistics. You have now inside, there is a cant indicator. So in today's world of shooting and long range shooting, inside of the scope will tell you if your rifle scope is level or not. So why this matters is because if you're shooting at longer distance, if your rifle scope is not perfectly horizontal, you could either shoot below your target or above it if your rifle scope is not level. So that's a really neat feature that's inside of that. And then one of the things that we noticed about this rifle scope that kind of is one of those ever developing things is that because it gives you a holdover, it automatically drops the reticle. A lot of people were forgetting to actually physically hold over on the reticle, and so we've now allowed customers to choose from 6 different reticle types that you can change inside of the rifle scope, and my favorite one is the one that basically points to the center dot and tells you to hold here. So it's a really neat feature to have. And then on the side of, in the upper left corner, so as you can see from the display behind us, in the upper left corner, there is some information that is inside of the reticle. You can choose to turn that off in the new feature, or you can choose to have your energy, bullet energy, or the flight time of the bullet. So how long it's going to take to get to that target.
It seems like it is a very sophisticated rifle scope. How are most people using this? You talked about long range shooting, like you talking competition. Obviously in the picture behind us, we've got an elk in there. Are we talking about mostly elk hunting? Like, how are most people going to use it?
Sure. So while it is complex in nature, it's actually one of our most simple rifle scopes to use. The whole design behind it is to be a simple, smart hunting. So for people who don't want to have to worry about carrying a rangefinder in the field, just want to go light, they want to carry, just a binocular, they don't have a hunting partner who's going to help give them ranges when they're laying prone or, sitting in one of those shooting scenarios that we've all encountered in the field, you can do all of this yourself. But it's just a simple, smart hunting solution. Not from the competition standpoint. It's more designed for the hunter that doesn't want to have to think. He points and he holds over, and the rifle scope is going to do all of that. And in fact, I used it on an elk hunt a few years ago, and it was pretty impressive how it worked.
So it has a rangefinder in it. How far out does that rangefinder go?
So the rangefinder max capabilities are 1,600 yards. However, you're not going to get that far with the ballistic solution, so it will only give ballistic solutions out to 1,125 yards. And now, being that this is a 5-25 by 52 rifle scope, it will actually tell you if you need to. There will be an arrow up or arrow down inside of the display if you're zoomed in too far and you need to back off so that you can actually see where that reticle drops to.
And what's the tube diameter on these?
So the tube diameter is 40 millimeter. It is a little bit bigger than most people are used to, but that is obviously to incorporate all the electronics inside of it. And then, of course, inside of there, you're still going to have all of the same features that you're used to or accustomed to with our Swarovski products, is the amazing low light performance and clarity and resolution.
All right, awesome, Joe. Thanks so much for sharing about this wonderful product. Just really makes hunting, especially solo hunting, that much easier.
Absolutely.
So if you would like to purchase one of these, is during the Reed's Virtual Gun Fair. It is running April 30th through May 9th. Click the link below, and thanks so much for watching.